Hey you guys, it's Watch It Ralph, and today we're gonna get into the spoiler review of Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Now, if you saw my spoiler-free review, you know that I consider the original a classic. Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, yeah. But this film has The Rock. That sounds like I'm dissing the fact, but The Rock is an incredible actor. He's an incredible comedian. He's an incredible action star. He's an incredible wrestler. He's incredible at basically everything he does. So, to me, he definitely did what this movie needed him to do to, like I said before, elevate it. Now, to me, this movie had a few flaws though, because since it went for the humor more than it went for the sentiment, it kind of lacked in certain moments. And as I said in my spoiler-free review, Kevin Hart played Kevin Hart. Because to be honest, I didn't even notice that Kevin Hart's original character, Fridge, was acting like Kevin Hart. I mean, maybe, I guess, it's just the fact that once you become a tiny person like he is, you become a whiny little person. So, to me, it just felt a little weird, because I understand Fridge had a little bit more of that attitude, even though he had some, and I guess it is intensified once you're basically shrunken like that. That grows while that shrinks, you know what I'm saying? So once you put that aside, you start to deal with other elements that bother you, possibly, because they bother me. In the third act, like I had said in the spoiler-free review, there was this huge problem. Now, I just hinted, but let's get into it here now. If you saw, Jack Black's character started to fall for Nick Jonas's character, which is clearly playing for humor, and it's meant to be a little awkward, but once you realize what you're really dealing with in that moment, especially if you acknowledge how the timeline played in the original Jumanji, and you go, are they gonna do that here? And once they do, you go, okay, this is even more awkward than what I thought. Because you see, this is written by human beings. This isn't life unfolding in front of our very eyes. They chose to write this. And to me, they chose to write themselves in a corner. Because with the issue with the timeline and the fact that you acknowledge that yes, he's been there for 20 years, making him a 36-year-old person, possibly a 37, 38, let's say, depending on what year the kid was in high school at the time. You go, okay, this is probably going to be a problem. And guess what? It is. Because they do bring in a great actor, Colin Hanks. Hey, Tom Hanks' son, to make it feel more at ease, because his father played a kid in a man's body in Big, I guess. Because he just shows up once they all come out of the game and realize that in the original, since Robin Williams, Alan Parrish was the main character, we see them go into their timeline all the way in the past in the 60s, and then you acknowledge, hey, what? Guess what? They actually interfere with the timeline to prevent the kids to reaching the path that would lead them to playing the game. They prevent their parents from dying, which makes it a great Christmas movie at the very end. Spoilers, but this is an old film that you should have seen by now, and to be honest, that should have inspired you to see it. So I could say this movie
Welcome to the
didn't inspire me as much, because within the third act, since Colin Hanks' character Alex wasn't the main character, even though he is the character that starts the film, And I like that they do make a reference to Alan Parrish within the world of Jumanji. So again, they showed respect. But since he wasn't primarily the main character from that point on, once we all come back into the real world, we don't see him enter his universe, which is kind of the point. It's the twist, but it's playing a twist to make it awkward, because you see him as an adult, and in the moment he goes, "Oh, I named my daughter," while he's holding his son who's in a baby carriage. "Oh, I named my 4-year-old daughter who just ran out of the car after the girl that saved me. You. Oh, but probably I didn't tell my wife that, you know, we flirted at the time and we had sparks, and, you know, the moment I got out, I was hoping to see her, but hey, I was stuck in 1996 and she was coming out in 2017. So you know what? She wasn't even born yet." This movie, even though I was liking it, and even though there is a little bit of a sentiment in that scene, you still go, awkward. The explanation for why the game went from being a board game to a video game was reasonable. I mean, as reasonable as it gets. So, to me it was cool how they added the element of what a video game seems to be, with NPCs, just like they explain in the movie, is non-player characters. So the fact that they played out exactly repeating themselves, basically like certain video games if you go into an open world. So it was kind of cool. The coolest thing would be if they actually made Jumanji Welcome into the Jungle into a great open world video game. It would be interesting if they could apply it, because you could turn all the jokes even further on its head. Plus, Nick Jonas is pretty good in this movie. Now, I'll say that he still has a little bit more to go, because he's pretty funny, but it still feels like he's trying to be cool. He's definitely loosening it up, but it still feels like he has to unclench, you know? Maybe he's afraid of getting unhinged, but he needs to unclench a little bit, because he takes it a little bit to the, hey, I gotta be cool. I'm being cool. I'm being funny because I'm cool. So even though, again, he did a good job. So I hope his acting skills keeps developing, because he definitely has a talent for it. So I could say, especially with that third act, there was a problem. Especially with the fact that it didn't really have that pure heart, because the original was always going for the honesty and mainly for the sentiment. There were a lot of humor in the moments, but at the end of the day, it was truly for the sentiment. But of course, that's because of the late great Robin Williams. So I hope you guys enjoyed, because I'm not gonna get deeper and further than that. So if you want to see what I rated the movie, go check out my spoiler-free review. And you know what? Share, like, and subscribe. And you know what? As well, till we meet again. See you guys.